Welcome back to the news at 10. To Nigerians in diaspora, constantly disappointed with the state of the nation, it's no longer enough to sit on the sidelines and complain. Now, this was the opinion of some Nigerians in the United Kingdom who gathered to commemorate the country's 53rd independence anniversary. Concern about national issues notwithstanding, many at the occasion were of the opinion that everyone must work to bring the change we need. Our correspondent in London, Doris Okenwa, reports.
Over 50 years ago, Nigeria gained independence from Britain and today stands as a sovereign nation, challenges notwithstanding. The Nigerian High Commission pulled together diplomats and Nigerian citizens in London to commemorate this occasion. This Independence Day anniversary is practically coming on the eve of Nigeria's centenary, 100 years of nationhood. But what exactly is worth celebrating, many ask? Insecurity or underdevelopment? Well, unity seems like a good enough reason for these folks here.
What the country requires is the continuous support and understanding of the international community in general.
We're very happy that despite of all the challenges, despite of all the problems in the country, Nigeria is still one.
The next level is development really of the country, particularly the infrastructural aspect of development in the country.
The blame game over who is responsible for the current state of the nation is a never-ending process. From blaming Western powers to failed leadership and more. But whose responsibility is it to make things right?
It's all about giving back to the country. It's all about us doing something back to Africa. It's all about putting our heads together and making sure our kids don't sit down on the floor to read.
From the man who cleans the street to the man who occupies the office of the president. The life of every Nigerian needs to be important to those who make decisions in the country.
In the diaspora, we're working on some ideas to help bring Nigeria back to the path of sanity.
One of the highlights of President Jonathan's Independence Day speech, quoting him, is that every Nigerian, both home and abroad, wants a country they can be proud to call their own. Well, for those abroad, issues of insecurity, corruption, impunity, underdevelopment is not something that particularly inspires confidence. And these issues must be addressed beyond mere words, but with corresponding actions. Doris Okenwa, Channels Television News, London.
Guinness. Made of more.
Move on to sports news now. Here's Ayotunde Balogun.
Yes, time now for some sports news. Well, the Nigeria Football Federation, the NFF, has given all 23 invited players for the 2014 FIFA World Cup playoff against Ethiopia latest October the 8th to report to camp in Abuja. Last month, coach Stephen Keshi called up 18 foreign-based players and 5 from the domestic league for the qualifier in Ethiopia on October the 13th. A top official of the NFF, Emmanuel Ikpeme, revealed that the early arrival to camp is imperative because the team has just 3 days to prepare before the crucial encounter. Now, reprieve may have come the way of Super Eagles chief coach Stephen Keshi following his comments about former Malawi coach Tom Saintfiet in August. The Malawi Football Association had reported Keshi to World Football ruling body FIFA after he called the Belgian a white dude who should go back to Belgium. Now, the Malawian FA had declared that the purported comments, which came ahead of the side's 2014 World Cup group qualifier in September, were racist. But FIFA has given a final warning to Keshi, saying it would impose severe sanctions on him if such incidents happen again. Keshi and Saintfiet became embroiled in a row after the Belgians said the match should be moved from the Nigerian city of Calabar on security grounds. In the UEFA Champions League, a brace from Cristiano Ronaldo and Angel Di Maria helped Real Madrid to a 4-0 thumping of FC Copenhagen at the Santiago Bernabeu. Well, Manchester City were undone at the Etihad losing 1-3 to the European champions Bayern Munich, despite the Bavarians picking a red card in the dying minutes. Danny Welbeck's early strike wasn't enough for the Red Devils as Manchester United squandered their one-goal lead to play a 1-0 draw at Shakhtar Donetsk. Zlatan Ibrahimovic got a brace for Paris Saint-Germain as the French side trounced SL Benfica 3-0 at the Parc des Princes. The game between Juventus and Galatasaray was and indeed interesting and filled with drama, especially in injury time, as the Italians were held at home by the Turks in a 2-2 draw. And that's it on Sports News. The news at 10 continues shortly.
Guinness. Made of more.
We shift focus from sports to the foreign scene, where Italy's coalition government has survived a confidence vote in parliament by a healthy margin, with 235 senators voting in favour and 70 against. Our correspondent Temitope Fagbemi tells us more.
Italy's Prime Minister Enrico Letta has survived a confidence vote in Parliament. This happened when his main opponent, ex-Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi, performed a U-turn and said he will now support the government. Meanwhile, as the United States continues to reel under the impact of the partial shutdown, President Barack Obama has cancelled 2 stops on his 4-nation Asian tour because of the government shutdown. The White House said Mr. Obama will no longer visit Malaysia and the Philippines, but will still travel to Indonesia and Brunei. Back in Europe, Russia is not relenting in its anger towards Greenpeace. The environmental campaign group says Russia has charged 14 of its activists, including at least 4 from the UK, with piracy. In Africa, the International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant for a Kenyan journalist suspected of offering bribes to prosecution witnesses in the trial of Deputy President William Ruto. A judge ruled that there were reasonable grounds to believe that Walter Osopiri Barasa was corruptly influencing or trying to influence witnesses. Finally, South African Olympic runner Oscar Pistorius has hired some help from the United States to bolster his defense at his murder trial coming up in March next year. And those are some of the top stories on the foreign scene.
Thank you, Temitope. And the main news again. Nigeria's power sector has received a further boost as the World Bank today announced plans to invest $1 billion in generation and distribution companies. A member of the House of Representatives from Nasarawa State, Mohammed Onawo, has denied receiving $25,000 to support President Jonathan in the 2015 election. And Italian Prime Minister Enrico Letta has won a Senate confidence vote after a last-minute U-turn by the former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi. Well, that's the news at 10 tonight. Thanks a lot for staying with us. I'm Ijeoma Onyato. Do have a good night.